What is good, people? Thank you for joining. Guess what's coming up on this episode? You are going to hear from a seasoned software developer that then became the leader of a team that then became a co-founder of a social learning platform. And they coined themselves to be the first real social learning platform. So if you want to hear from someone who's gone through this experience, gone through this journey of navigating their personal life so that they can succeed in the business world, this is a perfect person to listen to. So we're going to be joined in just a moment with Emanuel Landel, who's going to tell us all about his new initiative and all about how he's got there. Emmanuel, lovely. Thank you for joining us. I know we've had, looks a bit brighter now, to be fair. Looks like you've done a good job, but we know it's very dark and cold in Sweden at the moment. So obviously this is some good lighting we've got for you now, but at least we can see you. So how you doing today?
I'm doing lovely. I think it has been a really nice day and got a lot of stuff done. I was out running in the morning. Ooh. I tried to make that a habit lately. Also cooked some food, some omelette just, and well, now it's evening, and yeah, it's been a good day. Yeah.
Awesome, cool. I've also had quite a good day. Nice, varied bunch of different things to do. Little bits of coaching, little bits of facilitating, little bits of designing things. Always that's kind of like my sweet spot for a day, to be honest with you. Lovely, because across the different things that I do at the moment, I get to play a few different roles. So anyway, so listen, in this podcast, thank you for that. In this podcast, we're always interested in learning, yes, about your business side of things. We want to know about, is it Align? I know it's a form of social learning. It's a platform that enables social learning. How do you say it?
Align.
Align. There you go. Align. There we go. Nice and easy. Align. And we also know that you've got a deep expertise there as a developer. You're the CTO. You've been a CTO for a number of years. We know you started off as a developer. You've worked your way into a Scrum Master position, then very quickly got to, seemingly anyway, looks quick. But we would like to learn about that experience. So one question I just want to ask you first of all is, we know that there's been a journey there and you're in a particular situation now. We definitely want to hear about Align. But what I'm interested in is there's obviously this notion of success that drives you, that's kind of got you from being a developer or a junior developer at one stage of time into now, still charging after your aspirations as the co-founder and CTO of Align. So what does success mean to you? How do you define it? What does it mean to you?
Okay, I think success, what it means for me and what it means for other people might vary. I'm thinking for me, success is maybe having a family that you love, having something to do during the days that you feel is something you appreciate, and being able to select what you're doing with your time. I guess this stuff changed a little bit with the age also. So I'm 34 now, but the last 10 years, maybe in the beginning, it was more maybe success as in making a lot of money, and right now trying to free up time, I would say more, and doing what I really love.
Very
success for me is really being able to distribute and use your time as you wish.
Okay, and so tell us about that experience then. So where are you now in relation to that idea of being able to do with your time as you wish? Would you say that you are now the commander of your time as it stands right now?
Yeah, awesome. I am actually. So daytime 8 to 5, I'm working with Align, the tech platform, and on the evenings I'm working with a game called Dawn of Empires, which is a project that my brother started, and that he kind of got me into.
Nice.
So in the end of the day, I'm working with maybe the 5 people that I really would like to work with in the entire world.
That's beautiful.
So I would say like I'm at that spot right now where I actually am able to select how I want to use my time.
Good stuff, mate. You've hit the sweet spot there, and surrounded by the 5 best people that you'd love to be surrounded with as well. So you've absolutely nailed it there. Question for you. Do you remember when this goal first entered your mind? Because I'm assuming there was a point in time where things were very, very different and you weren't the commander of your time. and it's become very important for you for a reason, hasn't it? So do you remember the first point in time that you thought, yeah, man, I need to control my own time. This needs to change. I need to focus on. Tell us about that time.
So every time I left the company, it's been for the same reason. During my career, I kind of have entered the company and plan to stay there, let's say, forever. And in the end, I've been like disappointed, or the leadership haven't really been what I'm expecting, or I haven't been appreciated for the job I have done. You know, sweat and tears is what took me to where I am today, I would say. So not having someone to see that when money and maybe respect is in the earlier part of the career is really important for you. That is absolutely something that have accumulated and become in the end that I want to work for myself, and I want to work with what I find is important for me, and not just to make other people that have money already more rich.
Yeah, I know, which is often default with big businesses, especially, which is where you get all the great experience as well, right? It's where you learn all the good skills as a developer. You've got to go work with the big businesses, but unfortunately, like you say, they're going to line their own pockets, not necessarily yours, and it's so hard to get the recognition. I've been there myself. I started off at a big bank in the UK on a graduate scheme, and within 3 years, I was leading a division that was like 150 people by the time I left, which is a pretty cool experience. And like, I found it very tough, even then, to be recognized. I think I got one email that springs to mind that was actually recognition of some of the stuff that I'd done. But yeah, so that's I remember that. I remember going through that time too, and I'm also in a position now where I feel like I'm not all the way there, but I've got more flexibility over my time than I ever have done before, which is amazing. You know? I still count some kind of things you have no obligation to get out of or change. I still count that as not mine to control. You know, you know what I mean? If it's a set business meeting or cadence or something like that, you know what I mean? But that's fine. So how did you start to solve this problem? How did you start to actually control your calendar and your time? Was it a big leap that happened all of a sudden, or was it like an incremental change? How did you approach getting what you needed?
Yeah, so when I realized that during my career that okay, I want to be the master of my own time a little bit more, then I started to put deadlines on the companies actually I've been at. So the last employers that I had, I went in with the mindset to stay there, but if my expectations were not met, and they are not so much my expectation, let's say, but if they were not met in about 2.5 years, I would continue. And that's kind of an alarm for me. When that time passed, I know that, okay, I haven't become a shareholder here, maybe in that company which they told me from the beginning that I would be.
Oh, wow.
But I done a really good job here anyways. And then I'm feeling like, okay, it's a good time to exit now and try something else out. So basically that was my last strategy.
Cool, nice. And so I guess the more you started to be in control of your business, therefore you started to have more control of your time. So it's once your business has got to a certain level that's allowed you to have more flexibility over your time. Is that what's happened? You've been able to get more control over your time through owning your business. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So when in the end I realized like, okay, well, I'm good to try something else out, and I'm good to start my own business. And then I'm going to build a culture at the company from the bottom up instead from trying to change stubborn, let's say, very masculine men that has a mindset of 1800 or something.
Yeah, I know exactly what you
instead
mean.
of doing that, I have the possibility now to change and build the culture from the beginning, and that's what we have done with Align. And actually, that's what unites us as founders in that company as well. Like, we are never ever going to sacrifice the values in that company for anything else. That is so essential for all of us. So
Yeah, we are definitely going to get into airline as well, and how it works and what it all is. I'm very, very interested by it, just generally, to be fair. So we are definitely going to get into that. Don't worry, I'm not holding it for much longer. But the thing I was thinking about there as you were talking was a lot of my own experiences of working with these tough stakeholders, right? Because I started off in banking, and then I went into like technology, into startups, working with consultants through IBM, or through my own company. IBM hired my own company. We went around the world coaching top executives of leading companies. And so you bump into a lot of tough people with an old mindset, which isn't necessarily their fault. You've got to remember, like, it's not your fault what knowledge you've accumulated from the life that you've lived and the experiences that you've had. And it's also not your fault if the prevalent thinking in business academia encourages terrible leadership and awful management. Yeah, you know, so to a certain extent, it's not their fault. To another extent, there's a burning platform for change now, especially with technologists like yourself. You get a lot of developers that won't accept to work in bad conditions with terrible bosses. And I love that movement. I'm part of the agile stuff there. I love all that. And yeah, that for many years, and even now, that is a lot of what I do is agile transformation coaching with clients. It's a fundamental piece of knowledge there that no doubt you've gained as well. And it's just awesome for creating environments with teams of people, isn't it? It's just so cool there. So when you've then got started with Align, you then started to realize that you could have more control of your time, which is great. So we're going to get into how you've started to design your time to create an effective organization, because I know that's quite meaningful and important, especially when there's 5 people working on stuff. Even if you've got loads of free time, there's got to be a way of structuring your outcomes and how you're actually creating success for that company. But before we get into that, why don't you tell us what it is? What is it? And maybe you can remind me how to pronounce it.
I think you will make it before the session is over. So Align, and it's
Align.
Yeah, it's from the old spelling of the word align. So hopefully, but we will see. Align is an edtech platform, and what we are trying to do is like you talked about this with the gig economy and everything, like the way that the educational system has always worked is a bit outdated, and a lot of the people that come to your show have said that the school wasn't for them, and I could tell you the school for sure wasn't adapted for me as well. One thing I never learned in school was, for example, all these techniques to actually learn something. So there is a lot of different methods that you can use just to remember. Space repetition is one, for example. That is something I never learned of in school at all, which is so essential for actually having the things you read about to stack in your head. So that's what we are trying to do, is to help organizations to have a better learning culture. That is like in the essential what we are doing. But we if we talk about it as the platform and the product, we have an app with a discovery feed where you can see what your colleagues have shared. You can create a group, a collection, and discuss about maybe investing or leadership, or whatever is interesting for you. You can share smaller parts, bit chunks of a podcast, for example, and everything relates to your personal goals, your roadmap. So instead of pushing the learning culture upside and down, we are trying to encourage and engage the learner, the employee at the company, and trying to help them to have a better and more healthy what we're doing.
Yeah, and it's also on their own terms as well, isn't it? That's what I like about that, because often if you want a learning culture or you want a business that is a learning organization, right? If you want those things, how you share information is so important. And the forums in which you are able to create is going to stimulate people's ability to communicate in a useful way for the organization. So I love what you guys are doing there. It sounds super valuable. How does it differ to something like Slack?
Yes, so it differs. The main thing, if we take a better example, maybe YouTube, for example. So when I search for maybe something related to programming, let's say I want to learn about microservices, I type in microservices in YouTube, and three videos later, I'm watching something completely different. So I figure out, like, when Google doesn't know what to show me, or YouTube doesn't know what to show me, I end up watching airplanes that is landing, for example. It's very strange. It's just not related to any of my goals whatsoever. I'm never going to be a pilot, for example. But in Align, you would put in your roadmap, the first thing you do. So you're actually saying, like, I want to learn more about this. And because you do that, your discovery feed and your library is also affected. The people that is very good at that area can connect to you, and you can start a group together.
Okay, so it's like a skills, it's like a,
kind of,
yeah, what's on your growth map is also going to be the part of the algorithm that shares with you the right information, and it's going to point you towards the people that have the skills there too. So it's really starting to do a bit of deep learning, isn't it, within the organization, and how that's fascinating. It's a really good tool. Have you had any case studies of implementing it in organizations yet?
Yeah, so we have 2 customers right now, and we thought that it would be only IT consultants companies. We thought that like right now there is a lack of Python developers out there. Being able to just inject a little bit of Python basics into the discovery feed, we thought would be like very, very interesting for the companies, which it is. But our first customers is actually a school and a co-working space.
Wow.
So it's 2 completely different. Yeah, we were not prepared for that, but we were very open-minded, and we're still shaping the product.
That's awesome. I want to learn about the customer journey, right? I'm fascinated by this stuff. So how did this come to you, or did you go to them? Tell us about the customer journey. Like, where did your engagement with the customer first begin?
Yeah, so which one? In both of the cases,
let's go with the school. Let's go with the school.
With the school. Okay, in both of the cases, I can tell you, it's actually one of my co-founders, Innocent, that they wanted him to speak there. So when he's actually holding a talk about like learning culture and how to learn better and improve the culture at the company, he's also planting a seed and explaining about the product that we have. So I guess that's the reason for both of these 2 customers.
So it's like a talk that is also like a live demo, which is also like kind of like a sales pitch, but it's also going to come up with some useful, valuable insights for anyone who's a member of the audience anyway. So it's a very, very good way to kick the door open, actually, isn't it? Yeah, thank you for sharing that, actually. That's really useful. So what happened next? If you don't mind sharing this. Yeah, what happened next? So you've gone to speak at the school have approached you and said, we want the product, we want to start with the whole school, you don't have to tell us anything you're not comfortable telling us, of course, but I'm just really interested in the customer journey and how you as a company have worked with them, because I think if there are entrepreneurs or budding entrepreneurs or soon to be people that are watching this when it's published, learning that there is something called a customer journey, learning that you do need to think about what your customers are thinking and feeling as they progress through your kind of, call it your sales funnel, call it your marketing funnel, whatever you want to call it, but as they progress through your process of working with your company, of hopefully having value added to whatever problem they're trying to solve, then this is a fantastic tool and way of thinking. And as you've got a very innovative product that with an audience that you didn't even necessarily intend to capture, it's just fascinating now to learn, okay, well, how has this flowed to now be a kind of a base for your business architecture, I guess, going forwards, right? So let's say you're going to do the talk, the school's interested. What have they approached you with, and in what form? Email, me? How did it work? Break it down for us.
So first of all, like I'm more the technical person. I dealt a lot more with that, but I know how since we are a very like tight team, I know about the process as well. And I guess the first thing that happened is like they wanted to try it out, just in both cases. they wanted to try the product out, which means that we shipped it internally to them, let them try it out, and we figure out like, okay, here we have some problem, for example, with the onboarding process. So we started working with that, trying to get more and more people engaged. So we have that and changed our pricing model, and we said we are only going to charge for the users that are active, which means if they are in, we consider them inactive if they haven't logged in for 30 days. So this makes it important for us to always make sure to engage them, make sure that they log into the app and use the app. But it's also really good for the customers, because they know that they take a very little risk. On the same time,
it's the perfect outcome.
We built the entire platform on this idea very quickly. So the services that we use is actually using the same methods. So we are only paying for the capacity that we are actually using, and not having a lot of heavy infrastructure up, but more scalable stuff.
Wow, you guys are going to absolutely fly, I can tell. So what people find very difficult in business is knowing what to measure. And obviously your measure dictates your behavior. And what I love about what you've just said there, so simply, you're measuring your purpose, right? You've got a fundamental purpose that you solve in an organization, which is stimulating a learning culture. So you need metrics that are going to help you get the behavior from you and the product and the customer. And you manage to do that all with one metric, because it's fundamentally about the core purpose of what you do. And it's that simple, really. You need to measure your purpose. The hard bit is understanding what your purpose is as an organization, as a person, definitely, right? So how did you, with Align, how did you guys figure out that this is our purpose and this is what we're going to take to market? How did this business come around? How did it get to be?
So one of my co-founders, I have Stephanie and Innocent, that they are more sharing the business part of the company, and I'm dealing more with the technology, as I said. We met in an accelerator or VC that is called Antler, and at Antler there is about 2,000 people that they apply to be part of the program. Out of these 2,000 people, there is about 70 that is getting accepted. And from this 70, it's about maybe five to seven companies that is created as a part of the accelerator, and getting their first investment, and also first validation, I guess, that the idea is good.
Wow.
So Innocent was the one that came in with the idea, and Stephanie and Innocent found each other very early in this program, while I was more like talking to different people and trying to figure out exactly who I'm going to team up with, because I was decided that I'm going to track out with some companies, and I'm going to make like a unicorn. So that was my plan from the beginning, like really high up, really ambitious. But I met Innocent in the end of the program, and he pitched the idea, and I was sold, and I was like, wow, this I want to be part of. And the more I'm being part of, or the longer we get on this journey, the more I can also relate it to different stuff that is very valuable to me, with the entire education. And
yeah, learning how to learn. There's not many things in life that are that profound, are there? But learning how to learn is fundamental to life itself. Even plants have to learn how to learn, and they all evolve and change. Maybe not the methods, but what they're learning is changing and evolving based on the data and their senses, what they're receiving. Businesses are the same. Everything's a system, isn't it? So there's the same way of looking at systems, especially ones that have emergent properties, all fit businesses, people, the universe, all are systems. I love that aspect of things. And what you've just described there and even the product itself is a fantastic system, isn't it? Just the way that the different components play a part of interacting with each other to create something beyond what they would do on their own, which is like the definition of a system, right? So all of your different functionalities, they do equal some benefit in learning, of course, searching for things, but the fact you've glued them together in that way, and the fact that you've got the way you've engineered the user profile, and the fact that your core measures as a business are, the ones you explained earlier. Yeah, you're right. That's definitely something worth backing, 100%. And so you started at an accelerator. And what happens, I've never been to an accelerator, no doubt many people, I know a few of my guests have been actually from accelerators. Some have been actively on accelerators while they've been guests. So tell us about this, the ANTA program. Are you finished with it now? Are you still on it? What happens after the program? How set up for success do you feel you guys as a team will be and are, if you are out of ANTA?
Yeah, so when I got there, I was like, wow, here is like 60, 70 really smart people. I looked around and I felt like, wow, I'm not sure if I really fit here. But the program was very tight, and it was also in the beginning of COVID. So it was like they had to adapt everything and make it more virtual. On the same time, virtual doesn't really work with the concept of finding your team and tracking out. So it was a bit like messy, but at the same time, it was a very good program. And for me, that I was really interested in all this startup stuff that I had no experience with before. So for me, it was very interesting. People could be there for 3 different, let's say, categories. So I was there as a techie, as a CTO, and it's all the companies that I worked for and all the stuff that I have done actually that took me there. And Innocent, for example, he was there with the idea of Align, and also being in the edtech sector, and also he had been part of a few startups before. And Stephanie, my third co-founder, she's from the travel and business industry, so she came in with very much about experience with like how to really develop the product and deal with the customers. So we all kind of found our sweet spots and the way we could work together. And I guess after the program, you get the investment, and it's Antler haven't been so engaged. Let's say in this is more us building the company now, and they are one investor, and we will take in more investors with the time. And I guess the next big step that we are going to do with Align is to open a platform for everyone, because right now we have only been talking business to business, but we are actually planning to go business to consumer or customer in the end of the year or beginning of next year.
Wow, that is very exciting.
And then it will be a subscription model, and we will try that out. Yeah.
That's it. So you got plans to be the unicorn. If you've got a plan in mind, I know you've got the vision set there. I can feel it. I can see it. I think everyone else can hear it as well. But so what do you see as your next milestone then? I know you're going to release this in December, but what is your key milestones on the path to becoming the unicorn? What do you see as being your big hurdles that you need to jump?
Yeah, right now we work with mostly with interns, and that is tricky because with the culture we are building, we are very happy for people when they get a job, and we are really seeing that joining our team also results very quickly in a job for yeah. That means that we have a rotation of people that is a bit tricky to deal with, especially on the technology side. There is a lot of experience, and we are working with knowledge sharing and trying to find. It's a new way of working for me. Of course, I've been hiring a lot of people before, but never only work with interns, and that's what we have to do as a startup. So
that's good. So you've got to get a slick onboarding process. You've got to get clean code standards. You've got to make something simple and easy for people to get up and running with the code base quite quickly, haven't you? You've got to get them to understand the vision quickly, the customer journey quite rapid. Have you considered open source?
Yeah, absolutely. And we are very open with our ideas in general. I don't believe that good ideas should be kept behind doors.
No.
I'm very happy to share. There is a few stuff that is a little bit to share about, but we are one of our most important things that we are doing that we haven't talked about yet is actually validating informal learning. So all the articles we read, the podcasts we listen to, the videos that we watch, and the takeaways that we have from all these places, being able to share them and show that you were working all the evening, for example, or you're really interested in this programming language, or no one can see my 1 year of studying entrepreneurship, whatever
But
that
then,
is worth.
oh wow, so
Antler.
that would mean the app is always pulling the feed that's going into the phone then, yeah? It's like consuming all data. So what if there was some irrelevant websites on there that you wouldn't want? Yeah, I've been studying what if you didn't want them?
Yeah, so the way it works is actually you're building your own common space, so you can save stuff in your library, and it's the stuff that you save that we are validating your knowledge in. And there you can think a little bit like Duolingo, like quizzing, for example, is a very good way of learning.
Yeah. So okay. So when I go on the Play Store, let's say, when it's B2C world, when I know you're not launched it yet, but when it is launched, what's the thinking so far? If I download it on Play Store, will it interact with my apps? So if I'm in like my Google Chrome browser on my phone, and I'm in, let's say, YouTube video, and I'm like, yeah, I'm learning about behavior psychology, for example, yeah. What would there be now an integrated button that I click on Google Chrome so that the app knows about it? Do I copy and paste the link? And what if, like, is there a way of cheating the system? Like, could I pretend that I've watched stuff that I haven't watched just because I've marked it, just to look smart in front of all my peers, or to get a really good profile or something?
Yeah, if you do that, since the validation is still part of everything, it's not what you consume only, but actually we are validating. So we are going to from that content. I'm not okay. I don't want to tell you exactly how we are going to do this, but cool. we are taking the content from video and from audio and from text and turning that into some kind of interactive validation, and that we are doing today already.
Wow. That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I'd love to see it.
If you watch that video and you don't know the answers, then you're not going to have it validated. But the way I'm thinking of it is like, here we have a really valid resume and a modern CV.
Yeah. Listen, if you need someone to pilot something or beta something, I'm more than happy to give it a little play. That sounds really cool, man. Sounds really fascinating. I'd love to have a look at that. Cool. So your options, your route forward into being a unicorn, right? Just for people that are watching, that are listening, you sound like someone who's quite clued up about this stuff. You've done your first round of kind of seed funding, I guess. You're no longer bootstrapped, and so you're going to be going for more seed funding rounds as you go forward, and then hopefully you're getting to the magical price point in time where you're valued at $1 billion, isn't it? It's $1 billion to become a unicorn, isn't it? And at which point you would then launch, I guess, on some form of stock market or exchange or something. Yes, that would be your launch. So what's your path? Can you see, have you guys as a team started to develop, what those big jumps are going to take and what that's going to look like in terms of releases and functionality? Or do you do more of an emergent approach? You're just going to sense and respond and see what the data you're finding tells you? What's your approach?
Well, right now, we are getting a huge amount of users in. So that's the next step. We have been internal and only business to business until now. But now it's possible for people to get access a little bit earlier. The app does exist on a beta program in both Google Play and App Store, so it is possible to get access, but only through us right now. So we try to actually have people to do a little job before they get access because we are not charging for it. So we are asking them to fill out a quiz, and if they do that, they get access to the app basically.
Okay.
We are also trying to get people that really need the app more than others to get into that right now. So we're working a lot with organizations, for example, female coders, trying to get that kind of maybe in regions and parts of the world where it's a little bit less optimal learning culture in general, and trying to provide the tool to a lot of these people first. So we are growing heavily right now with users and just basically pressure testing the system on the same time. And
there's some amazing case studies you can do in that realm, isn't there? If you like, that's mind blowing. The amount of case studies. Like, I'm thinking you can go to countries where, like, my family are half Pakistani, right? Maybe there's in our local village where my family come from, they have smartphones, believe it or not, but they still live out in the open. They still go and chop the wood. They plant their own vegetables, all that good stuff. They live out pretty much out in the open. Very traditional Islamic way of living. But I wonder that they would love to learn something, you know, if they could download the app and fine tune it in accordance with what it is that they want to learn. There could be all sorts of learning. There's a river there, for example, that's really dried up. They could learn how to re-stimulate that river if that was a goal in their mind. And the app would kind of guide them towards making that possible, you know. And that could run classrooms, that could run groups of people, that one app with the same ambition, you know. It could be very powerful, especially when you start to look at big problems in the world that can be solved through social physics or social dynamics, basically by people getting together around a problem effectively. Your app becomes a way of turbocharging that and giving them the information, global information, rapidly at their fingertips, potentially, isn't it? So I'd love the sound of this. So you have to absolutely keep me in touch. I'm going to stay in touch with you, definitely, whether it's pleasant for you or not. I'd love to catch up with you towards the end of the year and hear how things are going. See if you hit your launch. One thing we always like to do as well, because I'm just conscious of time, how long I'm keeping you. It's good if we've not got much darker where you are, but I know you were waiting for dinner, and I'm also waiting for dinner too. I love the conversation we've had so far. I'd love to learn about the Align in a little bit more detail. I'd love to play around with the app at some point in time. I know I'm not quite a demographic. I'm not a female developer, but if at any point in time you'll have me, let me know. I'd love to have a look at it. I'd love to catch up with you definitely before the end of the year, the new year, informally without the cameras and whatnot, and just see how things are, see how things have been progressing for you. One thing we ask everyone is some key learnings that you've taken along your journey so far. So, you know, we've heard quite a lot there, haven't we, from someone who changed organizations 2.5 years for not being appreciated, not being recognized, who's then found you, Emanuel, you kind of found the space that you want in the world. You've kind of molded it for yourself, haven't you? You've made sure through trial and error, through tenacity, by keep going at it, you've got the space that you now want in the world. As you said, you really wanted to have like command of your time, and you feel like you've got command of your time now. And this is a very, try not to swear, very exciting, fantastic product, which as a techie, it's almost like a wet dream, isn't it? There's some themes there throughout our conversation. Browser histories and now wet dreams, but fantastic, mate. I love the story. Key learnings along the way. Tell me about them. Like, just tell us your top three things that you think, if you could go back, let's say 10 years and tell yourself, or if you could go back to someone right now who wants to command their time a bit more, wants to create that space for themselves, but they're having a bit of a tough time, they're feeling a bit weighed down by it all. 3 big tips.
Okay, I would start with, I guess, use the time in the beginning of the career to really learn and explore. I think it's really, really important. And it's all that experience that I have from the beginning of the career that gives me any value at all today, I would say. Like, I always get back to these simple concepts and the long evenings and my eager to learn stuff in the beginning of my career. And it's invaluable. It's something I I feel like I couldn't do that. I couldn't get here otherwise. I guess also try to figure out what you think is really fun and get good at it. So if you think programming is really fun and you're really engaged by this kind of stuff, or education, or making games, or something, I think that you can become really, really good and really, really valuable by just like following that kind of path.
Definitely.
That was 2 out of 3.
Yeah, you got one more for us? So far we've heard, essentially, in my own language, I've heard get skills, right? That's what you said first of all. Spend the time in your early career, go and get the skills, go and get the experience, right? Go soak it up, get eager for it, get hungry for it, get nerdy about it. I did exactly the same thing. Yeah, and so I guarantee I'll back that same point as well. Absolutely, go and get the skills, go and develop some base that you can use for the rest of your life after that point in time, right? And number 2, go and find something that you enjoy, that you find fun, something that is ethical, right? And then I think that's a great way of also, you mentioned ethical, it's a good way of looking at ethics, right? How do you live your life? You should have fun first and foremost in the center of it, right? Third one, I'm going to pressure. Give me the third one. Third one's going to be the gem, I can tell.
Yeah, I'm probably going for ethical, as you said. Like, be yourself, be genuine, and don't be someone else, because it's probably going to bite you later on. I think it's very important to be genuine, and it's because you're genuine that we love you, and that's why you're going to get good at it.
Yeah, man, that's it. That's it. So that's it. I love that. Get skills, have fun, be you. That's it. Loving that. All right, Emanuel, anything you want to leave people with?
No, not really.
Not really. You're going to send me the links that you want under the video. We're going to make sure the links are under the video 100%. You're going to send me some information about how people can download the app, what you want from them when they sign up, anything you want below the video, essentially. Just send me the message. I'll make sure it's below the video for you, right? Cool, mate. Thank you for your time. We'll catch up straight after this when we stop the recording. So hang back, don't go anywhere. Other than that, other than what we're about to do, I'm going to make sure we speak before the end of December. All right. So thank you. We're going to hang up now, stop the recording. All right, mate. Cool. Speak to you in a moment. Yeah. 1 sec.
Yeah.